Welcome back, Kuma Crew. It is once again your favourite friendly despair bear Annakuma, and today we'll be diving into the noir world of ducks. Yes, for today we shall be talking about the game that blew everyone away in 2024, Happy Broccoli Games' Duck Detective: The Secret Salami. When it came to the demo, I was, as was pretty much anyone who knew of this game before it released, excited, and not least because the demo showed some unique word-based puzzle gameplay, but because it mixed adult themes with much more family-friendly stories, which looked like it would be a lot of fun to play. I did have the worry that the game would feel extremely short, and I'm gonna spoil this for you. I still feel the game was very short. That being said, before I was able to actually make this review because I am very late on everything, we got the announcement of a second game, but we'll talk about all that later. Duck Detective is exactly what it says it is on the tin though. You are a duck. You will detect. You will make deductions along the way and figure out who stole this bloody salami. Which in itself could be our game's story non-spoiler overview, but I'll dig a little deeper just for you guys. Our main protagonist, Duck Detective, is down on his luck, having lost the love of his life, Anna, not me, but this bird right here on his wall, to his addiction to the bread. Whilst trying to figure out what he'll do after spending the rent on his latest hit of toast, he gets a call from the BearBus call center to go and find out what is going on in their kitchen. It is honestly the simplest of plots, and I say that as a positive. So throw your minds back, people, to a simpler time when cartoons were silly but hid adult jokes in amongst the silly so that the adults themselves would find it funny while sitting watching it with you. That is pretty much what Duck Detective does. It hides very adult and extremely noir themes behind a funny cartoon world so that adults and children alike can enjoy the game. Duck Detective isn't Chicken Police. It isn't here to tell you some in-depth story and really immerse itself in its noir roots. All Duck Detective wants to do is tell a short story that is easy to follow and makes people laugh, and it did that perfectly. Characters fall into rather obvious noir stereotypes, but they never become annoying for doing so. As you slowly gather information about the case, you learn that everyone has a secret. Each person you meet is hiding something from you, and have their own motivations for doing so. It is up to us to snoop around and unravel the mess that is BearBus. I quite like the characters as well. Each character is voice acted, and they sound just like they look, cartoonish. It could probably become grating, especially Laura, who can get very high-pitched, but I personally found it endearing.
This is the last straw!
Freddy Fredderson was by far my favourite character because of course he would be. Having someone who was a fan of Duck Detective was a fun twist. Having him the most annoying nerd in the office who had to be saved by us was just great. None of the characters really stood out too much though. None of them were like the star of the show. They all kind of blended together. The story only had so much time and space to give to everyone, so they all shine, but they all kind of work together to move the story forward. You never end up with one character longer than any others. See, Duck Detective is played, as has already been pointed out, through deductions. You don't get an inventory full of items per se, and it mainly just rips the observation minigames out of games like the Frogware Sherlock Holmes games. You observe the characters, getting a nice close-up of them to figure out who they are and what kind of person they are. I really love this though, because they went above and beyond with this, having more details on the characters as you pass the magnifying glass over them. See his sharp teethers? Look at how tired everyone is. Look at what a mess I am. This also happens when investigating the area at large. You'll read notes, get context clues from the items you find, and even get to read DMs and passages from a novel. All of this will give you words. These words will then help you fill in the blank spots of your deductions. None of the deductions are too hard. Even though they start off feeling a bit nonsensical, just hitting the drop-down menu and looking at the options you have in front of you will jog the brain a little down the right path. That being said, there also is no real reason not to brute force something if you're struggling, and the game will give you hints if it sees you're struggling. It will also tell you if you're missing words, so there is always the possibility that you just haven't picked up the right phrase yet. Nothing about the game is taxing. Nothing is going to make you want to rip your hair out, even if the characters in-game seem about to rip their fur off. Duck Detective just works, and you'll get into the swing of it pretty fast. That being said, I feel it is quite forgettable. Much like the Frog Detective games, or game I guess, I've only actually played the first one. Whilst I enjoyed it whilst playing it, a good hour or so afterwards I was indifferent to the experience. And now, months down the line, I had to replay the game to get some motivation to write about Duck Detective, because I just found myself indifferent to it very fast. I guess that doesn't make it a bad game though. I enjoyed playing it through the second time as well, and I could see the charm that had won me over originally. It is a simple game to pick up and just run through in a maximum of 2 hours, but other than the quirk of being a duck, I don't really think there's a lot more going for it. What I will give it though, is that it did take my favourite part of the Sherlock Holmes games and made it super interesting. It didn't need to be more than it was, and being slightly forgettable to some bear on the internet isn't a big thing, especially when it means I'll happily play it multiple times, knowing that I'll have fun reliving the story. I guess its biggest strength though is simply that it's something that everyone can enjoy. At its heart, it is a game about an addict duck breaking up a smuggling ring, but instead of alcohol, we have toast, and instead of drugs, we have salami. We have a really sweet romance between the two elders of the company, but they were also illegally selling coupons online to make more money. It is all a bit cliched, but in the best possible way, and written so that whether you are 5 or 35, you'll probably enjoy it. So whilst you might think me saying it was forgettable for me is a negative, I'll sit here, hand on my heart, and say that this game is actually fantastic, because not enough games are just simple fun for everyone. I don't think there is anyone who couldn't be charmed by it. It is short and sweet and gets to the point. Whilst the words might be hard for younger audiences at times, playing with family will get them through, and it also has a more story-based mode, so that if you don't want all the hard puzzles, you can play that instead. I don't actually know the difference as I personally haven't played it. Maybe I should have done that for the video. Maybe. Duck Detective also just looks great. There isn't much to the game, but it has a very vibrant feel to it. It didn't go for the noir color schemes and instead embraced its larger-than-life cartoony feeling, which I really love. Each character feels like a cutout. They have a few different emotions that they show and pop out of the scenes they are in. I love the variety of animals as well. Being a duck was one thing, but we've got bears, and I'm definitely happy about bears, alligators, a sheep, a penguin. They really had fun with their cast of characters, and I appreciate that. I am also a sucker for small details, and let me tell you that the fact that we have collisions with certain items makes me so happy. In the demo, I actually knocked over the bin by the desk and ran into the chair in such a dramatic way that I thought it was actually part of the cutscene. But just being able to go around the office, just throwing over bins and pen holders, made it feel a little chaotic, even if the game itself isn't actually chaotic. It also did have a few other puzzles in it beyond the fill in the blanks. There are 2 password cracking puzzles as well, both of which are done really well, and just ask that you continue to think like a duck detective the entire game. For ease of use, the hotspots are also always on screen. It makes it hard to miss the things that you need to interact with, and when you are stumped on what to do next, a quick sweep of a few screens you have and checking every spot will get you out of trouble. I'm not sure, but I don't think either time I've played it, I've gotten all the context words. As long as you find the right ones, you don't have to worry about it, which I think is a good thing. Locking people into finding everything would be tedious, especially as sometimes I totally forgot about the deductions, so went off on an adventure for ages, then came back to them to find out that I still didn't have all the words, but I had all the right words. One of my biggest problems was purely that it felt like a tutorial area, and then it was done. I'm not even sure I feel like it was overpriced or anything for what it was, but I did feel like I was just getting started and then we ended. We do now know that we have a sequel coming in 2025, and I would have kind of liked it if the game had been more episodic than just new games. It feels perfect for that Sherlock anthology approach with new stories coming out all the time. I don't even mind paying for them, that isn't why I'm whining. I would have just liked them in one place, like a bunch of files on the shelf of the Duck Detective, and we can open up the game and pick up the case we want. Maybe someday they'll compile them into something like that, I don't know. It is a super nitpicky thing, but I am looking forward to the sequel, and we'll be playing Duck Detective: The Ghost of Glamping when it releases this year sometime. Nothing I've said has ruined the game for me, and I highly recommend it for everyone. Happy Broccoli have hit a great formula and seem to have an eye for storytelling, so I can't wait to see what they come up with next. If you haven't checked out Duck Detective yet, then how? How are you here watching someone who talks all day about adventure games and didn't play one of the hottest adventure games of 2024? Get out there and go play it! When comparing it to the demo, it delivered everything it promised, including feeling too short. This is the good too short though. This is the leaves them wanting more and people being annoyed that they have to wait for more in a good way. I can't wait for its sequel. With that though, we are done with Duck Detective. I only have one more game for the demo review to get done, and that is Murder on Space Station 52. The Drifter not being out yet, I think. Or at least, I haven't played it. I'll have to check. I might take a break from getting these done though, and actually start getting some other demos reviewed for our next demo reviews. Or retro reviews, but we'll see how it goes. If you would like to support this bear in world domination, then please like this video, leave a comment about how you love your toast, and drop a subscribe here and follow over at twitch.tv/Annakuma with 2 A's at the end. You might ask why I always say that, but you'll be surprised how many times people have forgotten the second A, and I had to add it because Annakuma with 1 A was already taken. It's sad. Truly, this is the darkest timeline. But I stream 5 days a week and we play quite a few new point and click games as they come out, so feel free to come and join us. Until next time though, thank you for watching and bye bye.